Greetings, sailors, and welcome back to Warships and Patch Day, or at least it is here on EU. I think NA and possibly other servers, I'm not sure, are usually a day ahead of us. But anyway, yes, Thursday here on EU, which is the usual Patch Day, and it brings with it a new battle mode, which is essentially a variation on co-op. And I was actually going to do a video on the split today, but because this new mode is here, Asymmetric Battle, I thought I'd do that instead. So the restriction is it's tiers 9 and 10, and much like co-op, it's a team of players versus a team of bots, but unlike co-op, it is not equalized. It is a team of a few higher tier ships versus quite a lot of bots. Now, this isn't the first time we've had this kind of asymmetric battle concept, but it's not been... Like, I can think of one time it was done as part of a Halloween event, and it was kind of glitchy, and I can't think if they've done it in any other kind of context. So, yeah, I think for a long time the matchmaker just wasn't really able to handle this asymmetric concept, but they've decided to work on it a bit. So essentially, it's high tier only co-op, and it's sort of facing off against a horde. But it's still, like, I've done 2 already just to see what it was like, and it's still reasonably easy. I don't think they've changed the bot's behavior too much. I didn't notice any massive variations anyway. So it also does vary quite a lot. There doesn't seem to be a fixed list of what you're going to be seeing in terms of classes. So for this time, for instance, no destroyers and only 1 sub, only 2 cruisers, and the rest is all battleships. Whereas in others I've had so far, one that had I think 4 or 5, was it that many? I can't remember. There's at least 4 DDs. There was another one that had a bot CV. So there is some variation there. There's more variation than the standard co-op anyway, where it's more or less just mirrored. Not exactly mirrored. It doesn't. It sometimes mirror every single ship. It might just do a similar ship of the same class, but yeah, anyway, it's interesting. It's something clearly they like. I don't know if this is specifically something they're testing with the idea of folding it into co-op, or if this is really just a test bed for asymmetric matchmaking. Because if you're going to try out doing asymmetric matchmaking, then it's a good way to do it. You're controlling, you're sort of directly controlling half the variable in terms of the bot team. So you don't need to worry quite so much about matching up 2 teams of players in a way that's balanced, because you're only having to, match make 1 team, and the bots can just be kind of more or less whatever within the template that they've put in. And you don't have to worry about it too much, because the bots aren't super amazing, and they're kind of not super amazing by design. It's one of the things about designing like good AI opponents in general, and just video games generally, is actually it's not necessarily as easy as you would think, because you want to make them good enough to be a challenge, but you don't want to make them so good that they just absolutely ruffle stomp the human player, which, depending on the context of the game, can actually be quite easy to do. I mean, if it's something like let's take a Paradox Grand Strategy game, for instance. You can end up having a AI player that okay, there's a few variables to handle, but at the same time, it doesn't have this human attention span to deal with. It's essentially able to do everything within its list of priorities perfectly, whereas a human player can get distracted by a thing, or get focused on one thing and not notice another thing that's happening at the same time. And especially with like say Hearts of Iron, you've potentially got very big armies to deal with. That scale isn't really a problem for an AI player, but it is a problem for a human player. I mean, heck, when I play Hearts of Iron, which I don't really ever do in terms of like I've done multiplayer a couple of times, but it's mostly just me versus the AI, and I tend to pick smaller nations because I can't handle the bigger ones. Like I've tried the Soviet Union a couple of times, and it's too much. So yeah, but you know the AI doesn't have that problem. So I mean, in the context of something like World of Warships, well, we know in the past that they have actually experimented with. And this is, I think, a little while ago at this point, but they basically were like, okay, let's change up the co-op bot AI, and players complained, so they actually changed it back to the old AI, so it would be at least a more consistent experience and less challenging for players, I guess. So, yeah, like I said, I don't think the bots are playing particularly different, but who knows, they may have made some sort of non-obvious tweaks. Anyway, I sort of went off on a bit of a ramble there about more general game design stuff, so yeah. But hey, me rambling is just a common feature at this point. If you're not expecting the rambling, then you must be new here. So, yeah, this is just like they're not even pushing that hard or aggressive. They are, I think, grouped up a little bit more, and they're less. They're less focused, single-minded. What's the words I'm looking for here? Like bots in co-op normally just sort of make a beeline towards the opposing team, and they're not really doing that. So, I mean, the behaviour is a little different, but I don't know if they're necessarily like playing super smarter or anything like that. As to why I'm playing the Napoli, it's just, you know, I think I'll pick something different for the if we do a second one, just to see what it's like in a destroyer, for example. Just for a little bit of variety, because it's the mode itself that we're looking at rather than any one particular ship. But for the next one, I think I will do the split, because that's it's as far as I got with the EU destroyer previews. It's about as far as you can get with the freely available tokens without having to spend money. And I didn't particularly want to spend money on a tech tree line. Yeah, at least you could get some stuff on like the colourful tokens or coloured tokens, whatever they're called, where basically not possible to get anything substantial without, like, none of the ship variants. They're all in the hundreds of tokens, and I don't know that you can get 100 tokens for free. Anyway, that was a citadel? Really? Oof. I mean, I know Kansas ain't great, but I didn't realise it was that not great. Anyway, so yeah, a bit of a damage farm, but it's not even that much of a damage farm in the scheme of things. 150k. I did pick something that I knew would have decent secondaries, and there's not that many options for that as a cruiser, so Napoli it was, and the main guns are certainly good enough. Not much to get any torpedo hits though. But the bots, I think, cheat a little when it comes to torpedoes. It's not that easy to get them unless you hit them with the torpedoes very, very close. Which, obviously, I'm not doing here, and these are the slow Italian torps. Anyway, there goes the Kansas, and the Nebraska's about to go as well. So there we go. They've changed the victory thing as well. Not sure why, but hey, sometimes these UI element refreshes just happen for the sake of happening. Just to, I don't know, give the UI design something to do. It's more often a case of I don't know, staleness, I guess, as a concept, not letting things sit the same too long, but at the same time not making radical changes. So, better XP than a normal co-op game for sure, but you know, I was able to farm quite a lot of damage in that one, and it's split between far fewer ships. So yeah, let's try that in a destroyer, and we'll see how it goes. Although first I have to choose a destroyer. So I've chosen the Benham, which seemed like a fairly safe bet, can spit out torpedoes at a pretty rapid pace. Got a carrier this time, one enemy destroyer, only one more cruiser, and still boatload of battleships, so lots of tasty hit points, which, you know, the nice big damage numbers, you know, they activate the brain chemicals, so that's always good. Though, of course, as I periodically do like to remind people, because not everyone is aware, it's not actually the amount of damage you've done. It's the percentage of an enemy ship's hit points that you've taken, which is why hit point for hit point, doing damage to a destroyer is always going to be more valuable than doing damage to a battleship, because the same, let's say 10,000 points of damage you've done to a destroyer versus a battleship, well, if a destroyer's got say 25k, that's a way bigger percentage of the health than the 90k health battleship. So there you go. There's possibly someone somewhere watching who's just had their mind blown by this revelation, but yeah, I think it's reasonably common knowledge otherwise. So there you go. But that said, yeah, the nice big damage numbers are nice. Brain chemicals go wee! Anyhow, there should be plenty of things for me to put torpedoes out at anyway. This is going to be a nice target-rich environment. Don't have to worry about radars. Only marginally have to worry about carrier spotting. So yeah, I guess we'll see how good they are at dodging torpedoes when I can spam out quite so many torpedoes. I have to be a bit more careful about my health, of course. Don't have a heal going for me. But yeah, as long as I don't do anything silly, I don't think this should be too much of a challenge. You really can just circle round and round and round and round and drop all of the torpedoes. And I guess we'll see how good they are at predicting incoming torpedoes. And the answer is not very in the case of that split, although still survived 2 hits because I think I hit it both times in the nose, so the damage saturation will have kicked in. That has, of course, though, very much spotted those torpedoes for the jump on, but it doesn't matter. Got it anyway, apparently. So, almost done with the port side set, so let's get those going, and boop, and boop, and hopefully the Mecklenburg doesn't get in the way of those. And there's also a Zeton back there, but we've got stuff potentially coming through the middle as well. Although I don't know if they'll push through the middle. Like I said, the behaviour in terms of their pathing is definitely different. They don't go in a mad rush like they usually do. Right, I might actually hit the Zeton with some of these, but I've managed to get the Veneto with 2 of them as well. Zeton's turning away, but you're going to avoid taking that one there. Right, Veneto, what you doing? Just a whole load of damage from the Mecklenburg. Might as well just pew-pew at this point. No, don't look at me, Veneto. No, Veneto, don't look at me. Yeah, they still do like to prioritise destroyers, but that's not exactly atypical bot behaviour. So, we have killed 4 of theirs. We've actually lost the Hindenburg. Let's go and intercept that Hawk, I suppose. The Mecklenburg should be able to handle the Zeton, one would hope. But you never know. It would be surprising to lose one of these, but it's hardly an impossibility. Okay, so the Hawk is, I think, turning this way. Let's do... yeah, got enough clearance not to run aground. Let's do a little turn here. So the Hawk actually did push through, but I'm not sure where it's going now exactly. They're clearly coded to try and grab the caps if they can. But if you somehow lost this because of the caps, that would be embarrassing. It seems a little unsure, this hawk. It's just now kind of sat there. I think it's... yeah, it's not really sure where to go, apparently. Well, that just makes it a nice sitting target for my torpedoes, but still, that's a little unusual. Yeah, oh, no, it's thinking about it, it's thinking about it. The Yamato went down. Well, there's another one. Yeah, they seem a bit more reactive than proactive. But this is literally only my 4th battle, so maybe I'm reading too much into it. Oh, Zetan torps. Yeah, it's like, where are those torps? Where are their torps? Where could torps possibly be coming from? But no, Zetan torps. Because they won't be super fast or anything. Right, he's flooding as well, so that's nice. And it's about to take some more. Something like the Edinburgh is actually going to be a bit trickier than a nice fat battleship, or battle cruiser in this case, like the Hawk. There's the Implacable Mecklenburg. I don't know if the Mecklenburg will survive. Might come down to us destroyers. So there we go. That's that out of the way. There's still an Edinburgh. But otherwise, I can probably pop a speed boost after I've capped this and go and farm me a Texas. So the Edinburgh actually managed to torp the Mecklenburg. Also, I realised I said Texas rather than Kansas, but I know what I meant. It's one of the US states. And I know there's a couple of them, but yeah. It's definitely one of them. There's actually 2 Kansases over there. I was getting a bit confused when they were sort of overlapping and it was like, Kansas? No, it's just there was 2 of them. Right, so yeah, the Edinburgh is going to be a bit of a problem. How is it? Oh, the F-44's actually managed to cop a bit of damage. We might lose this one if I completely muck this up. We've got 2 of the caps now at least. But, yeah, I mean, these are also just normal length battles. But it'd be a bit amusing if we did manage to lose it. I mean, I must have at some point in the many thousands of battles I've played of World of Warships, of which very few admittedly are co-op, but yeah, I must have at some point been in a co-op battle that was a loss. Like, it's not impossible, it's just fairly vanishingly rare. Now, I do have to wonder if the Implacable... Oh, it's just me? It's just me? I do have to wonder if the Implacable is cheating a little in knowing where to vector its planes, even if it's kind of just a general direction, like an equivalent of having radio location. Right, you're actually going this way. We have got the 2 caps, that's fine. I wonder if the Edinburgh's still run aground. I kind of don't want to go round the corner face first and find out, because that would be a bit embarrassing to have been the reason why we lost this. Right, there's the Edinburgh. Please back into my torpedoes, Edinburgh. Yeah, I kind of feel like the CV must be cheating a little bit, like it must have some vague idea where I am. No, it's going to start backing into my torpedoes. That's unfair. And the carrier, well, that's definitely unfair. In fact, to quote a very old Jingles video, I mean, not very, very old, but man, it's a classic. Unfair plane. It is unfair plane. Anyway, let's see how many people have actually seen that video and remember that video in particular. Which way are you going, Kansas? Possibly through there. Right, do I? Yeah, you're kind of being a bit cheeky here. Implacable. I feel like you are. And the battleships probably have loaded HE. They're quite sneaky about that sort of thing. Right, I want to just get the carrier, because that cements things. I don't have to worry about being spotted at all, because Benham has passable AA. It's not completely terrible like, say, the Summers. But it's not brilliant. But yeah, if I can take out the carrier, that also gives us a big chunk of points, and then go for that Kansas there. Oh, there we go. Nice. Actually, it went straight through those. I cannot complain about that. The carrier sailing away from me is mildly annoying, though. But in theory, we should get this on points. Surprised it's not trying to make the drop, though. I think it's actually recalling those planes. I can't quite figure out what its behaviour is here. So yeah, the Kansas probably will get the A-cap, but that shouldn't matter too much. Seriously though, no, you're not recalling the planes. What are you doing, Implacable? This bot CV is confusing me. Right, do I just pew-pew with my guns at this point? We don't quite have the range to... well, we definitely don't have the range to try and nail a carrier that's sailing away from me. Right, there's Kansas HE. That's the biggest annoyance right now. Yeah, that's possibly the thing that will ruin my day, but I guess we shall see. I'm not... Well, somebody recognises who I am. Oh, I can spell. I can. I can spell, honestly. Right, if I died to the single torpedo, if I got detonated by a single torpedo, that would be extremely embarrassing. There you go, YouTube. Mr. Blap_1 has said hello. Be sure to say hello back. It's only polite. Right, stop running away, Implacable. I need your XP and I need your hit points. It's not that hard to dodge, but it's more the spotting that's annoying. Anyway, 7 minutes left. Having to gun down this Implacable is rather annoying. I wasn't counting on it getting to this sort of a situation, to be honest. I didn't think I would be in the position of being the last one alive, because that's not even remotely close to what's happened in any of the other battles. But hey, sometimes things like this happen. Like, these are definitely not going to get there in time either. I mean, they're going to run out, surely. Also, I think it's doing the carrier thing where it just... Yeah, it goes, right. My logic has dictated that's a destroyer, therefore I must use the rocket planes, so it just puts out the rocket planes even if it's putting out partial squads. CV! CV, come back! Even bot CV has managed to be annoying. At least with it being a Kansas, the reload is fairly low. Not sure what the Edinburgh's doing. Maybe it's just gotten itself stuck. Like, it seems to be struggling a bit with the pathfinding. Oh, that's a torp launcher permanently gone. That's annoying. CV! CV! Please, come here. I want to be friends, that's all. Just friends, I swear. I definitely am not trying to murder your face. Okay, maybe that's a lie. Maybe I am trying to murder its face. Yeah, it's whittling away, and it's annoying, and I don't like it. And if I die to a bot CV, that's going to be embarrassing for all concerned. But, you know, somehow the footage might get mysteriously lost. So, you know, the world will never know my shame. Or some such. I can't even do a proper drop. I'm having to actually dodge all of these heckin' planes. Right, there we go. It's almost run out of map. Right, you just... I don't know if it's jockeying for the position. Maybe it just has to be really sure before it wants to make a torpedo drop against a destroyer. I don't know. It has tried once already, but it was with a single plane. Anyway, we have now successfully chased the CB all the way to the border. Yeah. But we can now actually turn around, get these out. Oh, we've almost won on points anyway. The time it's taken me to do this, I didn't even get to kill the damn CV. Oh well. At least it didn't get to kill me, because that, like I said, would have been extremely embarrassing. Anyway, over 200k damage. That turned out to be far more of a chore than expected. But hey, it's actually the first one out of the 4 I've played where some of the enemy ships survived as well. That's the first one where we won on points. But that's fine. So there we go. Asymmetric battles. It's an interesting twist on co-op. If you have high-tier ships that you don't play that often, you know, it's certainly a little bit more challenging than co-op. The bots are a little more active, a little less single-minded than in co-op. They actually do stuff a bit differently, so it's not quite just high-tier co-op. But yeah, it's interesting. It does feel like a test, though. I think it does feel like a test mode rather than something we're going to permanently see added. Except maybe they'll add a thing into co-op for high tiers, like they've done with Arms Race for the regular matchmaking. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it'll make its way in as a thing anyway, even though it just feels like a test. Anyway, that's enough wittering. This doesn't need to be a particularly long video. So, yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed it. And if you have, you can do all the usual things down underneath it. And, of course, as always, stay tuned for more.